Alright, so we're going to start the second kind of division called synthetic division. As you can see from the name, the name is synthetic division, so it basically means it's a division that's been made up. Long division is a division you've learned, from your whatever, elementary days, middle school days and all of that. Synthetic division was made up. The word synthetic always means made up. It was made up specifically for polynomials, and you'll see how this works. You'll see how it works. When you actually start getting comfortable with synthetic division, you do 2 or 3 of them, you'll find it's a lot easier than long division. Okay, so let's talk about synthetic division. First thing you should know about synthetic division is it has restrictions. You cannot do synthetic division for all situations. You cannot do synthetic divisions for all. So there are restrictions. What is the restriction? The restriction is that you can do synthetic division can only do when the divisor or divisor, whatever they may call it, is of the form x plus or minus k. What does this mean? What does this mean? This basically means that the number that I'm dividing by has to be of the form x, can be plus or minus some number, n or k or whatever you may call it. It has to be of this form. What does this mean? If I go back and look at my problems 5 and 6, right? Can I do synthetic division in number 5? What do you guys think? Yes, because this is of the form x minus some number. Okay, so my divisor has to be, whatever I'm dividing by has to be of this form x plus or minus number. Can I do synthetic division for number 6? No. The answer to that is no, because x has a coefficient. You see, x does not have any coefficient, it's just 1. So the minute it does not follow this form, you cannot do synthetic division. So synthetic division is very specific, but it works really when you're trying to find factors of this kind. It's easy to find factors which is of this kind. So it has its purpose. It has its purpose. But you have to keep in mind when you are told to divide polynomials, you decide to use what you call synthetic division. The divisor has to be of the form x plus or minus some number. That's one thing. The second thing you want to know is you work only with the coefficients. So that's why it makes it easy actually. Because you're not working with the variables. You're not working with the variables. You're working with only the, what does that mean? I'll explain that to you the minute you guys write this, because this is important. Okay, so when we say you work with coefficient, it basically means that if I look at this polynomial, the first one, number 7, okay, so this is my dividend, this is my divisor. My dividend, what are my coefficients here? 6, negative 19, positive 1, and 6 is my constant. You take the constant 2. You don't have to worry about x cube, x square, x at all. You don't have to worry about the variables. You work only with the coefficient. You work only with the coefficient. And then if there's anything else I can think about, I'll let you know. And so let's go ahead and start this. So the way you do this is, remember what I said, you work only with the coefficients. So the coefficients are 6, so I'm doing number 7, 6, negative 19, coefficient of x is 1, and 6. Okay, in synthetic division you have to be really careful that it has to be in the standard form, so it has to be x cube, x square, x and constant. If it is mixed up, you have to write in the standard form. 1, second, any missing term you have to fill in. It is especially even more important for synthetic division because you're working only with the coefficient. So you write down your coefficient, and then unlike long division where you put like kind of a bracket, here you'll put an L-shaped box. Here you'll put an L-shaped box. And okay, so I'll give you guys a minute to put that down. You write down the coefficient and put an L-shaped box below it. Okay, now you have to divide it by x minus 3, correct? You're dividing this dividend by the x minus 3. but what you write is not x minus 3. Remember, you're working only the coefficient, but here you're not working with the coefficient of x. You're taking the value of x. You're taking the solution of x. So if x minus 3 was a factor, what is the solution of x? X is equal to what? 3, perfect, and that's what you're going to write here. So that is, sometimes I feel sometimes students make a mistake, so please remember to write the solution of x from the divisor. So solution of x from the divisor or divisor, whatever you may call it. So you're writing the solution of x from the divisor. Okay, now how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do the whole synthetic division? So what you do is I tell my students to learn this particular word, not a word but kind of a term. The first is, it's made of two words, drop, because you'll actually drop the first coefficient, and then followed by mama. Mama stands for multiply, add, multiply, add. You keep doing multiply, add till you reach the end. So if you remember this, it makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, so let me go ahead and do the drop, multiply, add. The first coefficient 6, you just drop it. That's why the word drop. You just drop it, that's why the word drop. After you drop the first coefficient, you do multiply, add. So what are you going to multiply? Basically everything gets multiplied by this 3. So just like in the other one, you're multiplying everything with that divisor, you multiply whatever you write here with this 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. You put that down here, and you don't subtract, you add. That's why this is add. That's why this is add. The first alphabet is multiply, the second one is add. So negative 19 plus 18 is negative 1. Then you do the process again. You keep doing multiply, add. Take this negative 1, multiply with 3. It's negative 3. Add. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And then again multiply, add. Take the negative 2, multiply with 3. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And then add. 6 minus 6 is 0. Okay, now I haven't got my answer, I haven't got my question. What are these bunch of numbers? What do these bunch of numbers mean? The last one always means the remainder. That means this is perfectly divisible with no remainder. There's no remainder in when you divide this polynomial 6x cubed minus this one by this, there's no remainder. That means x minus 3 is a factor of that particular polynomial. Okay, but what does that mean? There's no remainder, but where is my answer? Okay, so let me ask you this question. When I divide 6x cubed by x, what's my highest exponent? X cubed by x will give me, I have to reduce it by 1, right? So it's going to be x squared. That means this is going to be x squared, and then it reduces. This is going to be x squared, this is going to be x, and this is a constant. That's what it basically means. So 6x squared minus 1x is just minus x, minus 2 is my quotient. There's no remainder, so there's nothing else to write. That is my quotient. So this divided by this, my solution is 6x squared minus x minus 2 with no remainder. Are we sort of clear? Yes? Okay. I'm going to let you guys work on 8, and then I'll show you the work myself.